The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
At first, I didn't think it was real. I woke up to this blinding light, and I was transported to another place. Pluto TV. Then I heard a voice.
Come with me if you want to live.
There were thousands of movies and shows, and they were all free.
The truth is our secret.
It's just so beautiful.
On Pluto TV, free streaming of Terminator 2, Fringe, Arrow, The 100, and The X-Files may cause excitement, loss of sleep, and sudden belief in extraterrestrials. No credit cards or alien encounters necessary. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
He's at war with woke.
Joe Concha
thinks liberals are a joke.
Joe Concha.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
All right, so I got to start with Jackson Dart because this controversy is blowing up. I can't believe it's even a controversy. Donald Trump has won 2 presidential elections, maybe a third, depending on who you talk to. The guy got nearly 78 million votes. Jackson Dart was born and raised in Utah, which at last check is quite the red state, and then went to Ole Miss, where I'm pretty sure Trump won by, I think, 140 points in the last election, Mississippi. So, yeah, not exactly surprising that a young male from Utah and then the South may support President Trump. So he introduced him at a rally for Bruce Blakeman up in Suffern, New York last week. And this thing has been like the talk of everywhere over the weekend. And obviously the left has a big problem with it because, you know, it's funny. I just filed a story for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. It'll be up tomorrow morning. Talk about how, you know, Democrats and the left scream about saving democracy and how the First Amendment is under attack. Free speech is under attack by President Trump. But if Jackson Dart exercises that right by doing a benign introduction of Trump at a political rally, well, that's a big no-no. He can't be doing that. And I'll give you an example of the kind of reaction we're seeing to this. Now, Jackson Dart is being called a racist simply for, again, supporting President Trump, introducing him at a rally. Obviously, this makes him complicit in something, I guess. Cut number 8, go.
When he's on a team that's 55% to 60% the NFL is that many people, that much percentage of black people, blacker. That is just the definition of stupidity and racist, in my opinion.
Wait a minute. No, it's racist? Joy's comment right there, her argument. Because why are we to assume that the 55 to 60% of Giants who are black all support Democrats? That they would all find this offensive? I'll bet you more than a few probably voted for Trump because they make a lot of money and they want to keep their money. They don't want to be taxed out the wazoo. Maybe they want their kids to be safe. Maybe they want the borders to be secure. Maybe they don't like it if they have a daughter and there's a boy playing against their daughter in sports. I could go down the list of things that, you know, black people, white people, Asians, Indians may support Trump on. And for her to say that, saying this could be offensive to the 60% of black guys on your team, well, that's just like Joe Biden saying, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black, right? Because it just assumes that all black people vote Democrat. And Trump captured more of the black vote than any president in modern history in the last election. I got to go all the way back to Nixon in 72 to find a bigger black support. Thankfully, we have some sane people in media, including fellow Maryland Terrapin Boomer Esiason. Here he is on WFAN, and he's going after Abdul Carter. Now, why Abdul Carter? Remember, if you're not familiar with this controversy, Abdul Carter was selected number 3 in the 2025 draft overall by the Giants. Then the Giants had a second first-round pick, and they used it at 25 to draft Dart. And Dart had a good rookie season. Not a great one. He's the 14th highest-rated quarterback in the NFL, according to analytics. Which, when you consider there's 32 NFL teams, and considering that many rookie seasons usually don't go very well. Look at Peyton Manning's stats sometime for his rookie season. Not good. All right, so he's developing faster than people expected. He didn't have much of a team around him last year. Obviously, his best receiver in Neighbors was out most of the season. So didn't really have too many people to throw to. Had a decent running game, I guess, but it's not Saquon Barkley back there anymore. So he worked with what he could, and still to have the 14th highest rated season for quarterbacks in your rookie season on a bad team, that's pretty good. So he's definitely the future, and certainly has Giant fans optimistic in a way we haven't seen since Eli Manning. Point is that Abdul Carter then went after Jackson Dart on social media instead of just picking up a phone like a mature adult would and saying, hey, man, I got a problem with this and here's why. But you do so privately. You don't air that stuff, that laundry publicly. And Carter's tweet calling out Dart for introducing Trump has been viewed more than 23 million times. So, yeah, this thing is blowing up. Thankfully, Boomer brings some common sense here in cut number 3. Go.
This was a real error on the part of Abdul Carter, not on the part of Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart was asked to do something to introduce the President of the United States. How many people get an opportunity to do something like that, regardless of who the president is? You may have hated Barack Obama. You may have hated Joe Biden. And some guys didn't want to go to the White House because they didn't like those presidents, just like other guys didn't want to go to the White House because they didn't like President Trump. But to put this out like a child on social media is ridiculous. And then when I heard, we spoke man to man. Yeah, there was only one man on that call, and that was Jackson Dart. You were a man who was late to meetings. You were a man who didn't live up to your draft choice. You're a man who wanted to wear number 56. And by the way, your idol, number 56, has introduced Donald Trump numerous times. So I don't want to hear this. So he made another just boneheaded error by going to social media.
Exactly right. And I'm glad that Boomer brought up the fact that Abdul Carter, this takes some real balls. I'm sorry that you haven't played a down in the NFL and you ask Lawrence friggin' Taylor if you could wear his number. He's the greatest defensive player of all time. Won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants. And you're like, hey, I wore 56 in college. Can I wear 56 for now? And he said it because he idolized Taylor. You don't even ask that question, man. But I'm going off on a tangent. But yeah, I was at a rally in Wildwood, New Jersey, seated right next to Otis Anderson and Lawrence Taylor when they both spoke at that rally in support of President Trump in May of 2024. So yeah, and Lawrence has done it many other times since then as well. So that's where we are at the Jackson Dart controversy. Again, I can't believe some of the comments that people have made saying they'll never watch the Giants again because Jackson Dart did this. Oh, okay. I'm sure you're happy when Megan Rapinoe said that she would never go to the effing White House when Trump was there in his first term if the women's soccer team won the World Cup. And I'm sure you were applauding when Rapinoe was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Joe Biden. Why? Because she was anti-Trump? So it's just a hypocrisy. It's a joke. And again, if this was Jackson Dart introducing Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris at a rally, you wouldn't hear one peep from anyone, all these people that are complaining now, the free speech crowd. Unbelievable. I'm going to stay in a sports theme here for just a minute because I think this is really good. WFAN used to have a guy named Mike Francesa on there, and Mike and the Mad Dog, and probably you can make the argument the best sports radio show of all time. Talk about a contrast of personalities. And it was just pure entertainment. Francesa now is on his own, doing his own podcast. But the reason why I'm playing this is because I was flipping around yesterday as well, and I saw that the Mets were losing a game, 7-0 to the Reds, who are an okay team. And somebody hits a solo home run on the Mets to make it 7-1 late in the game. And what do? He gets into the dugout, and all these teams have this stupid ritual now of wearing like a helmet or a mask or a coat or bling whenever they hit a home run. Can you picture Joe DiMaggio ever doing anything like that? Mantle? Mattingly? No shot. So here we go. This guy gets into the dugout after he hits a home run. Again, they're down by 6 runs. They have like a 6-game losing streak. And they have to put a welder's helmet and like some sort of costume on him while, they celebrate. Idiots. Sit down, clap a little bit, say, all right, here we go. Let's get back in this. Do not celebrate like that. I said the same exact thing, and here's Francesa echoing that sentiment in cut number 5. Go.
But how ridiculous does it look? You're a team that's awful offensively. You are as anemic as any team can be in the major leagues. You're mired in another losing streak. You can't score. You're down 7-0. You hit a solo homer, and in the dugout, you want to dress the guy up in a dumb hat and a vest. I mean, what's wrong with you? Do you have no pride? I mean, right. Isn't there a point where we say, hey, we got to get back to basics here. We got to get back to business here. We can't be fooling around with this nonsense. I'm watching that and saying, if I'm on the other team, I'm laughing at them.
Laughing at him, exactly. He has some long pauses in there. I thought he was done that like at least 2 occasions, but excellent points all around. And yeah, let's see. Mets currently ranked 26th in the league in runs per game. Can't even get to 4. Their batting average, 228 they're hitting collectively as a team. And you're celebrating home runs to only get you down 6. It's not football. All right? Not we got a touchdown. We're back in this. Don't celebrate. Don't do that again. Utterly ridiculous. Anyway, before we go to break, you got to hear this because Zoran Mamdani, apparently now, because he is a communist, let's get the socialist thing out of the way. This is pure communism here. Because now he's saying he's going to seize property from anyone he deems to be a, quote, bad landlord, because that sounds totally legal. Cut number 9, go.
Through our new citywide campaign, Fix the City, we will focus on the worst landlords in New York City. When necessary, we will take aggressive legal action to remove negligent owners and property managers.
Remove? They're going to remove them, arrest them?
And for buildings that have suffered chronic neglect, we will work to transfer ownership to responsible stewards.
Again, how are you going to do that legally?
Stewards that include community land trusts, nonprofits, or
Echo.
even the tenants themselves.
All right. I'd love to see this survive a courtroom. You're going to seize the property and then give it to the poor, I guess, or to nonprofits? Oh, boy. I mean, how people cheer this stuff. I just think it's stupidity. I just think people just don't know better. And everything sounds great until he tries to execute on something. Like those government-run grocery stores that he's opening up. All 5 of them in a city that has more than 1,000 stores. And he thinks that that's going to make things more affordable. Meanwhile, store owners where these things are going to be built are pissed, as they should be. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is Concha at Night. Back with so much more in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition.
Joe Concha.
Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
All right, everybody. So, I love this clip. Probably one of my favorite of the day. We were talking before how Zoran Mamdani now wants to seize property from all people that he considers to be bad landlords. Sounds awfully subjective to me, and illegal for that matter, as I said. But here's Adam Carolla, and this is the thing, like, Zoran Mamdani's idol is Bernie Sanders, a guy who's never produced anything in his life, who talks about how horrible rich people are, and yet he owns not 1, not 2, but 3 homes. I mean, come on, enough already with this guy. But here's Adam Carolla, who I think has one of the better podcasts out there, talking about the difference between Bernie Sanders and Elon Musk, who is deemed the bad guy in Bernie's world. This is cut number 24. Go.
We have Bernie Sanders, who perpetually does nothing, has never started a business, employed people, met payroll. He's never done anything except for take money from the government. That's all he's ever done is take money from the government. And he parades around the United States screaming about oligarchs and those who have too much and those who go to bed hungry and those who don't have enough. And he wants to give people things. He doesn't have anything. He doesn't create anything. He wants to take other people's money and give it. He's a hero. He's applauded. People are feeling the burn. They love Bernie Sanders. Then there's actual person like Elon Musk, who creates millions of jobs and billions in tax revenue. And God knows the tentacles of that octopus known as Elon Musk and the wealth and the creation and the jobs. Now, he's doing all the stuff Bernie Sanders wants to take. He wants to take his money and give it to dumb, poor, fat people who are angry and simultaneously scared.
I can't break it down any better than that, certainly for sure. And again, Bernie Sanders was, again, he's Jewish. And he campaigned yesterday with Graham Plattner, the guy with the Nazi tattoo, the guy who cheered on Hamas when they killed Israeli soldiers. Do you have any integrity, dude? I always, people are like, oh, he's cuddly Bernie. Larry David does a Bernie Sanders. Ha ha, fun. It's a bad person. And if you support somebody like Graham Plattner, after this guy mocked a Purple Heart recipient, do you know the story? Here you had a guy, he's leading his platoon, and then he purposely draws fire to himself from the Taliban in Afghanistan so his counterparts can get the hell out of there. He gets shot 4 times. And Graham Plattner said he hoped the guy died, that he was stupid and he deserved to die. How is this guy even remotely competitive in that race? I know Susan Collins isn't any great shakes, but it's a human being. How do you support somebody like this, given everything he has said and everything he supports? Well, it's happening. And as I said on the show yesterday, if Jay Jones can get elected as Attorney General in Virginia after wishing death on not only his opponent, but his opponent's wife and 2 young children, then I guess anybody can get elected these days, regardless of what they say or what their actions are. Meanwhile, this is incredible. The Kimmels are insane, as in Jimmy Kimmel, his wife, who's his head writer on that show, and apparently Jimmy Kimmel's sister-in-law tried to shut down a bakery because the bakery made Spencer Pratt cookies in Los Angeles. And then she worked to try to get them shut down for that. I mean, these are sick people. Cut number 25, go.
Hey, Spencer, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
So these are the cookies that everyone's talking about?
The sold-out cookies that people should order from the fire victim is trying to support my campaign is saving Los Angeles, making LA safe. Yeah, these cookies.
Are these the cookies that Jimmy Kimmel's sister-in-law tried to shut down? Is that?
These are those famous cookies. So
how do they taste? Can you taste one?
Oh, these are just the best cookies in the whole world. Oh my God. Look at this.
And where can we buy these from? Was it
Salmon Sente Foods? And this baker, she lost everything in the Palisades fire.
So she's a victim too?
And she's just trying to support her family. And that woman was trying to stop somebody from supporting their family.
What message do you have for Jimmy Kimmel and his family for trying to do all this kind of stuff?
You know, I hope they go support a fire victim that lost everything and maybe make amends and buy some of these cookies. You know, I think that would be a good apology. I always have time to support people that are, trying to build back from nothing and that are being attacked by people that obviously don't understand that my message is common sense. So thank you to this baker who's fighting for LA.
I don't think they should be called the Republican Party anymore. They should be called the Common Sense Party. Common sense versus chaos. And that's what Spencer Pratt is running on and why he is just surging in the betting markets right now. He'll almost assuredly finish second or first even in that primary that happens just a couple of days from now. And then Karen Bass, general election, she will not debate Spencer Pratt. That I do know because she got her butt kicked in the first one, and she's just going to try to hold on and hope that unions and people that automatically vote Republican end up doing that for her. Before we go to break, here's Rosie O'Donnell talking about how she actually scares Trump. I mean, yeah, maybe if you kind of look at her for more than 3 seconds, but no, she's saying that she's a strong woman and Trump is scared of Rosie O'Donnell or something. Cut 15, go.
And here he is saying what he says and being who he is. And I think that strong women scare him and infuriate him. And I'm one of them.
You moved literally out of the country after he won. Yeah, he's scared of you, Rosie. And she has this big canker sore on her lip. I mean, you thought it was tough to kind of absorb before. It really is now. That is certainly for sure. And by the way, Susie Wiles probably wants a word on that whole, strong women scare Trump, because he definitely trusts her as chief of staff. She definitely has his ear. And that's somebody that obviously he didn't have with him in his first term in terms of chief of staffs. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is Concha at Night. Back with so much more in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
So speaking of Spencer Pratt, there is another person besides Karen Bass running for Los Angeles mayor, and her name is Nithya Raman. She's a councilwoman there. She's somehow to the left of Bass, which is really hard to do. Here's the thing. Spencer Pratt is using these AI videos, and they are just absolute bangers. There's no other way to put it. In fact, why don't we play one, shall we? Because this is his latest, and these are really impactful. And it will change the way people campaign forever in this country. That I do know.
Now, couples therapy only works if you're both honest with each other. And I feel like you're holding back a little. Is there anything you're lying to each other about? Anything at all?
No, nothing comes to mind.
No, nothing, really.
Fine, there is one thing. I'm voting for Spencer Pratt. Sorry, I just can't take 4 more years of Karen Bass. Hell, I can't take 4 more seconds of Karen Bass. The homelessness, the needles, the crime. I'm sorry, honey.
You're sorry? Don't be. I'm voting for Spencer Pratt, too.
What? I thought you were all vote blue no matter who. No kings. Riding for Biden.
I thought so, too. But it gets to a point when there are more needles at the park than people.
Or when you go to CVS, and the allergy medicine is locked up, and the deodorant is locked up, and the freaking shampoo is locked up.
Or when family doesn't want to visit anymore because the streets are covered in and they got mugged last time.
I mean, how great is that? And he just puts it out like every day there's a new ad, and every day his poll numbers go up. Anyway, Nithya Raman has a big problem on this. Here she was on CNN over the weekend, talking about how Pratt using these AI videos is really insulting to entertainment workers because he's replacing them with AI. One little problem with this argument, as pointed out by CNN, good job, you guys. I don't praise you very often, but nice pushback here. Cut number 2, go.
You know, I think I will say as my husband works in Hollywood, and to promote your campaign with AI videos in a city that is the core of our entertainment industry feels deeply insulting to so many workers across this city.
He would say he's just sharing out other people's AI videos, and that's not what he's
doing.
Yeah.
But, you know, I would also say that, you know, I think the kind of language that he used.
So what the anchor there said was that Spencer Pratt isn't producing those videos. So when I say he's putting them out there, he's sharing them on his social media account. But other people are creating these things. So she tries to make this argument like, oh, you know, it's deeply insulting to people in the entertainment industry that Spencer Pratt's putting out these videos. And even the guy on CNN's like, he's not putting them out. He's just sharing them. That's all. And she didn't really have an answer for that. So, yeah, she'll be no more as far as the mayor's race come June 2nd. Bass versus Spencer Pratt. And he's got a pretty good chance of winning. I'll say that. In Los Angeles, because he's not portraying himself as a Republican. He's a guy who wants homelessness to end, the drug problem to be taken care of, for needles to no longer be in the parks, and for people to get their homes rebuilt because of the fire. That's what he's running on, those 4 things. And when you keep it that simple, you're making a binary choice, he absolutely has a shot. Meanwhile, Elizabeth Warren ran for president in 2020. Not very memorable. Horrible candidate. She did that ad where I'm going to go get me a beer. And then her husband walks into the kitchen. He's like, ooh, look, my husband is now here. Yeah, he lives there. It was just, that ended it basically before it even started. But now Axios is reporting that Pocahontas is actually a kingmaker within the Democrat Party. And the way you're going to win the nomination in 2028 is you got to go hard to the left, because that's where the energy is. Primary voters are more of the AOC Bernie crowd than they are of the John Fetterman moderate common sense crowd. So they're going to have to pander to those people by saying some pretty crazy stuff. And then during the general, I guess, pivot back to the middle and pull like a Mikey Sherrill, Abby Spanberger kind of thing where they'll portray themselves as moderate. And then once they get in, if they get in, then they'll be like Joe Biden, go back hard to the left again. So hopefully people see through that for what it is. But yeah, here's more on Liz Warren. Apparently she's going to help decide who the next Democratic nominee is. And again, if you're J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio, you're very, very happy about this development. Cut number 16, go.
Still have no clear leader as they look toward 2028. But potential White House hopefuls may see liberal Senator Elizabeth Warren as a key power broker. An Axios headline puts it this way: Dems eyeing 2028 bids count Warren. An excerpt from that reads, quote, Warren is being publicly and privately courted by Democrats eyeing presidential bids in 2028. A sign they're trying to build up their lefty credentials. She met privately with Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear for tea this month and has a texting relationship with California Governor Gavin Newsom. Warren's also been working more closely with fellow progressive Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She has been fueling 2028 speculation with a series of high-profile rallies and endorsements. She recently sidestepped questions about a White House run, but did not exactly slam the door shut.
There you go. So Liz Warren, maybe she'll go with Gavin Newsom. Maybe she'll go with AOC is more her type, so to speak, as far as political leanings. So we'll see. But either way, I don't think she runs AOC. I keep going back to it. She'd have to work. You know, it's easy to fly private to a Fight the Oligarchy rally, read a prompter, do a couple of social media videos. She hasn't sponsored or co-sponsored anything that's become law. She prevented Amazon from coming here, 25,000 jobs, good paying jobs, like $150,000 average. So that's her legacy. And she would have to actually campaign where that's fine. But if she has to debate anybody, she's going to have a big, big problem because she is not used to leaving her safe space. I think I shared this before. She's done 4 interviews this year, 4 TV interviews. And if you want to count Don Lemon as one of them, okay, I guess so. That was one. She was on some comedian's podcast. Of course, Jake Tapper she ran to. That's going to be not even softball, it's t-ball if you put a beach ball in the tee. So, yeah, I just don't think she can handle the rigors of a campaign, especially what happened in Munich, right, where she couldn't even give like a coherent answer on what she would do if China invaded Taiwan, like as if she never gave the question any thought before because she hadn't. So you take away the sizzle and there's no steak there. It's all foam and no beer, all salt and no tequila. Meanwhile, Mark Kelly, Senator Arizona, who may run for president, he was asked by Kristen Welker on Meet the Press, hey, what do you think of Kamala Harris being the nominee? And, oh boy, you think AOC's bad. Kamala has proven that she may actually be worse. Cut number 10, go.
Do you think that Kamala Harris would be a strong candidate in 2028?
Candidate, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, she was the nominee last time. I think
you would encourage her to run.
I think she would be incredibly strong. I think you're going to have, a dozen, if not more, folks running.
Oh, incredibly strong. What are you basing that on exactly? Spending nearly $2 billion in 2024 in 107 days, mind you, and not winning one swing state? That kind of strong. What would make Kamala Harris strong? Here's the thing. She won't be handed the nomination this time. She's going to have to run for at least 2 years. 2 years of Kamala Harris speaking. And you think that she's going to get better with every outing, every interview, every debate? No shot. No shot whatsoever. Then again, maybe a shot because, again, this isn't the 96 Bulls that she's going against as far as competition. All right? Newsom probably the strongest because he lies the best. AOC we just talked about. Guy like Mark Kelly, phony. Told the military to disobey orders. Yeah, that's great. That's not treasonous or anything like that. And then who else could run? You got that guy Bashir, probably the most boring candidate we will ever see since the caucus. So I think when the performance part of this is a real thing, I just don't think he'll have the type of traction. He'll just come across as too moderate anyway. And then Pete Buttigieg, yeah, he may get negative black votes. Like somehow, like not even 0%, somehow going to the negative. Like that's how much black voters do not like that guy. So yeah, we'll see. It's not looking good. And then again, it's only May of 2026. I have a feeling we'll be talking about this on this show at least once or twice more. Jennifer Welsh, let's just get to her. She is a horrible, horrible human being. She is the person who advocated celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder more publicly, wants people more to call Charlie Kirk a racist and this and that and this, and he deserved to die. All right. I don't know if you've ever seen Jennifer Welsh, but if you think Joan Rivers has had a lot of work or had, meet Jennifer Welsh. Anyway, here she is talking about how she wants to stop MAGA people like my colleague Jesse Waters from speaking because he talks about masculinity too much. And if you do that, that makes you a fascist because that word isn't overused now or anything like that. Cut number 7, go.
We have to go after these MAGA men. One example would be Jesse Waters. Mm-hmm. This man talks incessantly about masculinity. Joe Biden is not masculine because he sucks on soup. What kind of man sucks on a straw? He goes on and on and on so much about the idealized man. And that's a part of fascism, this, propelling this form of toxic masculinity. Why are you so obsessed with men, Jesse Waters? What's all that about? Mm-hmm. Why are you so obsessed with trans people? Why are you thinking about genitals all the time? Kind of flip the script.
Jesse's like number one in primetime by a country mile because he does a good show. It's very well written. I go on there a couple times a month, and I'm always very impressed with the scripts and the way just the show moves along. Obviously, he learned from Bill O'Reilly and understands what works. O'Reilly obviously was number one in primetime on Fox in the same time slot, by the way. For more than 2 decades, and she's just making stuff up there at this point. He talks, he's obsessed with masculinity and genitals. No, he just does a good show. And I just don't understand this person. But people appear on her podcast like they appear on Hassan Piker's podcast. And Hassan's not having a very good week because now DOJ has opened up an investigation into him. And he says now that he is worried about that. Oh, whatever happened to violent revolution? Suddenly getting squeamish there, Hassan. Maybe, I don't know. Don't call Jews inbreds and don't say that the day the Soviet Union died was the worst day of the 20th century. And certainly don't call for the sitting president to be assassinated. Yeah, that'll get you in some trouble. But we'll see where that certainly goes. Anyway, before we go to break, I think this is great. For whatever reason on my X feed, more and more scenes from Cheers are popping up. There must be some sort of algorithm because I think I watched the final, like the end of the final episode on there, and now my Twitter feed thinks I want to see more Cheers clips. And I got to say, I forgot how genius this show was. Here's one where folks around the bar are talking about daylight savings time. And it's kind of Seinfeldian in terms of they take a very just benign topic and turned it into something hilarious. Cut number 12, go.
Okay, guys, that's it. Closing time.
Alrighty. It's hard to believe 17 hours could slip by that quickly.
Yeah, good night, Sammy. Good night.
Guys, don't forget, tonight's the night we go off daylight savings time. Be sure to change your clocks.
But, it's 2 o'clock now, so which way does it go?
That's spring forward, fall back, Mr. Peterson.
All right, so it's 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. Set him up, Sammy. I was this close to going home. I love this universe.
That's great. And then the classic theme, of course. That's true. I guess if you're at a bar at 2 a.m., it becomes 1 a.m., that buys you another hour, I suppose. And then Norm never wanted to go home because of his wife. I believe her name was Vera. I could be wrong about that. Kevin, I don't know if you know. I can look it up, of course. But you never see her, I think, right? Never once throughout that entire show. She's mentioned often, but you don't actually see her. So the answer is Vera. Yeah, Vera Peterson. Unseen character, never directly shown on screen, but frequently mentioned in the series. Okay, that's according to fandom.com. All right, let's go to break. And when we come back, we wrap this puppy up with some of the more hilarious sound bites you will hear on the radio today. I'm Joe Concha. Please do stick around.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition.
Joe Concha.
Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
In this 25th anniversary year of September 11th, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation continues to honor America's heroes. Heroes like Fire Lieutenant Michael Wells, who was inspired by 9/11 to serve his community. After 14 dedicated years of service, he lost his battle with occupational cancer, leaving behind his wife, Katie, and their 3 children. Tunnel to Towers honored Lieutenant Wells by paying off the family's mortgage in recognition of his sacrifices. Donate $11 monthly and amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Go to T2T.org.
This is the Worldwide News Network.
Extra. A little fisticuffs and a brush with the law is not going to stop Nathan's hot dog eating contest champ Joey Chestnut from competing this 4th of July. Chestnut was sentenced to 180 days probation after he pleaded guilty to slapping a guy during a bar confrontation. Chestnut told cops he was pretty drunk at the time. I'm James Flippin, and this is the Worldwide News Network.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's get to the fun stuff, shall we? Jeff Bezos. Here he is on taxing the rich more, and why that won't do anything that anybody could actually feel. And I'm going to juxtapose that with what Graham Plattner told MS Now recently. And you can't see, one is complete common sense and one is communism in plain sight. Cut number 1, go.
And Elizabeth Warren has made this point repeatedly. I think she's made it in reference to you and others, are able to pay a lower tax rate, even though you're paying an enormous some in taxes, a lower tax rate than maybe I am.
These people sometimes say that I don't pay taxes. That's not true. I pay billions of dollars in taxes. And it's a perfect, again, if people want me to pay more billions, then let's have that debate. But don't pretend, that that's going to solve the problem. You could double the taxes I pay, and it's not going to help that teacher in Queens. I promise you. So you can't connect those two things, not logically. There are more examples. Why is rent expensive? Why is rent so expensive? I recently saw somebody blamed it on Airbnb. Okay, Airbnb is not the cause of expensive rent. In fact, it's been almost, let me finish here 1 sec. It's already been outlawed in New York City, and rents are still very high. So we know Airbnb isn't causing high rents. What's really causing high rent is government intervention.
Precisely. And again, you could tax all the billionaires, double it, triple it. It won't matter if the money isn't spent correctly. Florida, $120 billion budget for next year. $120 billion. All right, got that number in your head? New York, $260 billion. You'll never guess which state has the higher population. Florida does. So why could they do things better at half the cost? Their economy is ranked number 1 in the country. Their education system is ranked number 2 in the country. U.S. World News Report. You know what New York's ranked? 41. And it spends twice the money. So it's not the taxes and sticking it to billionaires who will leave the state, like we've talked about. Ken Griffin. Bye-bye $6 billion project on Park Avenue. Bye-bye Amazon, when you would have had a second headquarters here, and all these other businesses that are leaving. Dallas Stock Exchange, get used to it. That's opening soon. You'll never guess how many businesses are going to move down there. JP Morgan, their headcount in New York has decreased by 10,000 workers, and in Texas has increased by 20,000 workers. Any questions? So yeah, you can tax. Stick it to the billionaires, and it sounds great to your far left stupid base who doesn't educate themselves on basic economics, but it's not going to make the country better and only put us more into debt. And I could go on, but boy, here's cut 14. Graham Plattner, guy who mocks people that win Purple Hearts and loves Hamas and loves communism and thinks all these horrible things about America. Here he is, Bernie Sanders on MS Now, talking about how no. My way is the right way on taxes. Cut 14, go.
No, I think it's abject nonsense. I think that's what somebody says when they don't want to see their taxes go up. There's absolutely no question that if we target the wealth where it has been hoarded, frankly, for decades at this point, and we pull it back into our system and put it into social programs like healthcare, like childcare, like paying teachers what they are worth, we will absolutely improve the lives of working Americans and, quite frankly, improve our society as a whole. It's, I think what he is pitching is propaganda. It's meant to protect himself and protect his crony friends. And, we're going to come after them for it.
Oh, okay. Good luck. I guess Amazon's probably not going to open anything up in Maine anytime soon with those kind of comments. And by the way, billionaires are hoarding the money. You know what Jeff Bezos does with his money? He invests in his companies, including Amazon. I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. Amazon now employs more than 1.5 billion people. Average salary nearly $100,000 per worker. I'm pretty sure he's made a lot of people's lives better. So you're going to target him and make sure he pays his fair share. Well, he won't be able to invest as much money in those companies. Therefore, he won't be able to expand his workforce and give good paying jobs out. Again, I am not an economist. I am not good at math. Trust me. Oh, but I had to have a tutor. I have to admit, in high school, algebra just did not stick. But I'm pretty sure I understand basic economics. And this guy could very well get elected along with Bernie Sanders as his protege. And that is just some scary, scary stuff. Meanwhile, before we go to break, let's hear from break before we end the show. Here's Mr. Wonderful on why California, which loves the type of things that Graham Plattner does from a tax standpoint, this is why they're a loser.
California is actually the worst managed state in the union. I would never invest there. It's a loser state. And it's been that way for a while. And you can see the collapse of cities like San Francisco and now LA. San Francisco is a war zone.
Yep.
I mean, you don't walk around there at night. It's completely in disarray. And I think a good example of what happens when you don't have good management.
And that's the thing. Do you want Florida to be like the country or California? Do you want Texas to be like the country or New York or Illinois? Very simple. That's the choice at this point. Anyway, This hour went by very fast. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on WABC and on stations around the country. Until then, I got 2 words for you. Bye-bye.